Welcome to Raising the Curve, a podcast designed to teach you everything that you need to know to be better with your money. Come and learn alongside me, Sophie Hallwright, a total beginner from the finance expert, Victoria Harris.
So I've asked all of the questions you wish you could so that finance, investing and growing your wealth actually makes sense.
Yes, it's expert education, but that we promise will not be boring.
And in the wise words of Cher,
my mom said to me, you know, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man.
Come and talk and learn and laugh with us because together we really can raise the curve.
The holidays are here. Woohoo! The silly season is upon us. So, Dani, I have a bone to pick with you.
Yes.
We don't have a Christmas tree in the office yet.
I've let us all down, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, and anyone that knows me will be shocked and appalled.
This is a fireable offence.
I imagine you at home every morning playing to like all I want for Christmas is you kind of situation. And then, you know, the office is looking very un-Christmassy.
You're not wrong. I mean, this morning was actually Wham! Last Christmas. But
What's Wham?
Last Christmas,
I gave you my heart. Oh, sorry, we're all quite good singers. That's actually quite
Someone
nice.
take the harmony and go. I have let the team down. In my defence, I didn't want to do it on a day where not everyone was in the office because I think the actual decoration part is the whole point. And I think that it would be really nice for us to all do it together.
I agree. It's not just one of those things that it's like, cool, we've done that. It's like, no, we sit down together, we decorate.
It's a sense of occasion. It's a ritual, you know?
If we could have it by the 25th of December, that'd be really great.
No, I think we need to enjoy
Vic
it.
got me some passive aggression for Christmas.
Me, I'm like,
But for anyone that doesn't know, Dani is a massive
Yes.
Christmas fan, more so than anyone I've ever met, and it's a really fun quirk that I'm into.
Yeah.
Someone got me an advent calendar this year and
Someone.
I left it at their house and then I went back to collect it because I was missing days. And I was like on the train this morning eating an advent calendar and being like, this is the best breakfast in the world. Can I not do this every month?
Oh my God.
my dad gets me an advent calendar every year, even at my age. Yeah.
Love
It's
that.
like tradition.
Love that.
But haven't got one this year.
Why Christmas for me is not like a super, it's never really been huge. I don't know what it is because my parents are separated and I always sort of feel at Christmas time that it really like highlights that the classic, you know, stereotypical heteronormative family arrangement is no longer in my life, which is such a weird thing at like 33 to still feel like there's a slight tinge at Christmas that isn't super happy. But I'm imagining Christmas in your household when you were younger, probably the excitement was coming from you and not from your parents.
I've got to give them credit for this one.
Oh.
This is why I think Christmas is such a big deal for me because it was one of the days of the year where it was flawless. It was like white Christmas, Bing Crosby in my house. Everything
that's
looked
really
like it was
lovely.
from a postcard. It was all done very, very well.
No, but the reason we wanted to speak about Christmas, it's a time of year that puts a lot of pressure on families, on parents, on everyone really, to spend quite a lot of money. And it's not just Christmas, it's a holiday season. You've got lots of socialising happening, whether it's with work, with friends. There's a lot of pressure to keep up with expectations. I mean, I imagine it would be really particularly hard with kids. Like, you know, Santa's bought you these gifts and then also these are from, you know, like it would be really hard to make everyone feel what is like traditionally loved by showing it through gifts, through lots of food. And so we wanted to talk about how you can approach the silly season with, I guess, like a more planned and strategic mindset, have some like things in place to stop any kind of overspending because the last thing you want is to be going into debt at this time of year and then start the new year feeling behind.
Yeah, I mean, financial stress is like a reality for 40% of households in New Zealand, Australia and the UK, which I find is so low. I reckon December would be the most stressful time for everyone. People are spending an average of like £700 during the holiday season.
Well, then I would probably say it's January. It's the most stressful, right?
Exactly.
Because actually it's the hangover of what you've spent. People get quite carried away with the dopamine hit of buying gifts for people. It's such a slippery slope because what you think you need, quote unquote, need to spend, if you didn't spend it, would you still have a really beautiful time with that person this year? And would you still have a great Christmas? Probably.
And a lot of that is put on credit cards and you don't get the credit card bill till January.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
So January being the lowest point in the UK anyway, based on the fact that it's about 4 hours of daylight a day by that time. And your credit card bill comes in and it's post-Christmas hangover and that Christmas limbo.
Yeah. And it's not just hitting the wallets either or the financial stress, it's the mental health implications that come from that stress, which take the shine away from what Christmas should be, which is celebrating and spending time with friends and family.
So what we really wanted to do is just have a conversation about like ways that you can put in place some, I don't know, hopefully helpful tips and tricks so that the next, couple of months are less stressful than perhaps they've been in the past. And I thought maybe what could be a good way to start this is actually just to check in, to honestly share how everyone is feeling in the lead up to Christmas, who's planned gifts, who's set budgets, like where is everyone at?
All my gifts are purchased.
Are they?
Yeah.
How many did you get?
I don't go overboard at Christmas. I'm quite a considered purchaser in that sense. I've bought 4 gifts in total, and therefore sort of immediate sort of people I see every day in my life and people who I'm really, really close with, I made a list throughout the year, which is what I do when I hear somebody say something they like. I'll put it down in my iPhone notes.
You are
I'm
so
the
cute.
same.
Are you? Yeah.
And it makes it so much easier when it comes
So
to birthdays
easy.
or Christmas, because you're like, oh, that's right. They said they wanted those shoes or that top.
Yes, I made like lists throughout the year, and then I purchased the majority of them during November, not necessarily on Black Friday weekend, because as we all saw, the deals were quite throughout the month as well. But it meant that I saved about £200 to £300 on what I would have spent had I not bought them in the sales. And that's just about being prepared. This wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to a sale either. This was, I know I want to get this person this gift. I'm going to wait for this department store to go on sale and I'm going to purchase it. Yeah, and I saved about £260.
God, that's good. Do you have all your gifts done?
Yes, except one. But
Don't you love how she says accept? It's so cute.
Accept.
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 You
Accept. Oh,
accept.
accept.
She always
Accept
says
one.
accept. It's real cute.
Excluding one. But I do it slightly differently, and I try to start early and like stagger the pitch, so it's not and so then if they are on sale, that's great, but it's more
She dollar cost averages her gifts.
yeah it's kind of, then it's not like, oh gosh, I'm really going to have to cut back on stuff because I need to budget for presents in December, so I'm going to have to take that from somewhere else. It's like, okay, cool, I've got like a gifting budget for each month, and now a little bit of that's going to go
I like that.
And then also another trick that I've done, I have bought myself some time by giving gifts that I don't have to purchase for a wee while. So like, let's do a trip,
Oh, genius.
or like, I'll give this to you when we get back to London, which gives myself a bit of time.
so clever.
Otherwise known as, I have not bought you a gift.
No, there's just it's a bulky thing.
Yeah,
I
and
know
I was
exactly
like,
what you're talking about.
and I don't want to take it all the way to New Zealand just for Christmas, for then it just to come back over here. So it's like, hey, here's a picture of what I'm going to get you when we get back to So it's kind of, it's staggering. It's dollar cost averaging. Yeah, but no, I do very much stick to it though.
When it comes to the budget aspect of it though, it's interesting that you have sort of a dollar cost averaging approach throughout the year where you have maybe £100 here or £50 here. I forecast that December will have less put into my investments because I will take a proportion of that and then put that towards holiday gifting in sort of November and December instead of doing that dollar cost averaging throughout the months.
Well, if anyone's wanting to know, I've done 0 Christmas shopping. It's shocking. I also imagine there's a lot of people that are not.
Yeah.
So let's not make me feel too embarrassed.
No, also this year, I know we say this, does anyone else feel like as you get older, the years are literally just screaming by and all of a sudden it's December.
Screaming by.
Sophie always tells me like, oh, not again, Vic. Like I'm always like, oh, time's just flying.
Can you believe
I feel like I'm going to wake up and I'm
like
60.
No, I think my strategy this year is I think I'm going to message everyone in New Zealand and say, I'm not there for Christmas. Don't worry about buying me a gift. Like, don't send something over or like make it a big deal. Because also for me, having to bring gifts back to New Zealand, such a nightmare. So I'm just going to do cute little gifts, like quite small ones for my sister who's over here and my family who live over here, I think. I'm just going to keep it really cute and humble.
Also, when you know somebody has put thought and time into doing something for you, I think that's such a cool gift.
Same.
Because we really live in this space now where it's instant gratification. It's like now. It's so easy to purchase something.
That's why I loved creating that list like throughout the year. Even if it's a small gift, if I give the gift, they know that I listened.
Yes.
Like 6 months ago and remembered. I 100% agree. A thoughtful gift. Like, I remember I dated this guy and literally it would be Christmas Eve and he would go into one store and he'd be like, right,
I know exactly
I need a
which
gift for my mum, my
ex-boyfriend
dad, my girlfriend, my brother. And the sales assistant would just go, what's your budget? And just go and get it.
Oh, I hate that.
And it was like, I knew it every year. I mean, it was a great store, so I wasn't complaining.
What's the point though?
I know, but I
don't
knew it was
bother.
so thoughtless. And I was just like, you know, like a card, just even a card would have added a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, though, I got, oh my gosh, he's going to kill me. Last year, I got gifted our planners.
He gave you what? Our own finance and investing? Oh, that's right. What was the story behind
It was
that?
just like,
Please tell me there was a gift certificate inside of those
he
planners.
was trying to hide the gift so that I wouldn't see it through the wrapping paper. He sandwiched it between two of our planners.
Okay. You've really, you've
So I
buried the
opened
lead here.
it.
He did actually get you something else.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Vic.
Come on.
The poor
No,
guy.
but I opened it. I opened it and I was like, oh, is this a joke? Like, why have you wrapped up two of my own products to give back to me? Anyway, now he's bought the course. I'm like, oh, is that my Christmas present?
Mate, that's nothing. I got an IOU on a Post-it note once.
Yeah, true.
I owe you a present.
Uh-huh.
No. Yep. Okay. Vic, you
Yes.
wrote an article for Breakfast TV.
Yep.
And it went up online and it was 8 tips on what we can do to reduce the financial stress at this time of year.
Yep.
Can we go through some of those top tips?
Sure.
Cool.
The first one, apologies, this podcast hasn't come out earlier, is start early.
Oh, God.
Sophie, all right?
How early?
I start in like October.
Yeah, that's about the same time as me.
Some overachievers.
It's just because it gives you more mental space to
Yeah.
really think about it and not make impulse decisions.
Yeah. And then you can also take advantage of sales and all of that. So, yeah, and you can, well, for me, I can space out that spending. So, yeah, start as early as possible. So maybe start for next year.
Yeah, no, honestly, I
Yeah.
think that is a good tip. And
Yeah.
I will think about it now next year. I think you just don't know what you don't know. It's the
Yeah.
same with budgeting. It's the same with investing. As soon as I know it and I've done it and it's part of my routine and it's just normal, I do it. But no one's ever told me start thinking in October about your presents.
And it gives you time to be thoughtful, you know?
I think a cool thing for anyone at home listening right now would be to pick up your phone and set an alarm or a
I'm going
reminder
to do this right now.
for October 1st, 2025. Plan Christmas gifting. The year moves to, what did I say earlier on? Screams past us.
It's true.
Screams
And sometimes you
fast.
just need to be
It's like,
interrupted and go,
Yeah.
Christmas spelling.
Yeah, and you don't just mute it.
No. No.
She knows me well.
Also, like, you can start thinking about my gift now if you wanted.
What I find annoying about gift giving, and I don't know if this is just because if someone tells me to do it, I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Is that I like being generous and giving people things because I want to, not because that time of year is coming
Yeah.
up.
It's become more and more and more consumer focused as we've gotten older. But I would say if COVID taught us anything, it's that the only thing that really we wanted, when everything got stripped away, the only thing we wanted was to be with each other.
Yeah.
And
So true.
it's something to remember to go, okay, well, am I buying this because I feel the pressure? Or would it be just really nice to organise a day, like you said, Vic, with that person, spend some quality time with them, because you just never know.
It's so funny. I was looking through old footage for this course and I was going through my birthday that I had straight out of lockdown.
Oh, we're both in white.
Yeah, and you can only have 25 people. And I was looking at that and I was like, everyone was in such good spirits. Everyone was so happy to be together.
That was such a fun day.
And it was such a fun day. And I was like, it's because we were all locked up.
Yeah.
And it was just like really, probably one of my best birthdays, such a happy time. I don't know. And it's like so true. It's like, it's not about the gift giving or what you're wearing or like the food or the table decorations. It's just like being together.
And honestly, if you're worried about the type of gift you get someone and you're worried that, oh no, they're gonna think I'm cheap or they're not gonna like it enough and it's gonna impact our friendship or relationship, I would seriously suggest that you consider that friendship. You know, if giving a gift to someone is the only way to maintain a relationship to a certain level or a certain standard, something's gone wrong here anyway, because spending time with each other really should just be the priority.
A beautiful, thoughtful card goes a long
Yes.
way.
Okay, what's next? Give me a different
kind
one.
of ties into this is like, don't be influenced. I think I am the first one to put my hand up and say I am guilty of being influenced by people on social media and falling into the trap of realizing it's not reality. For a lot of people, that's like a snippet of their life. And so it's just remembering when you see the snippet of these beautiful table decorations or these extravagant gifts, it's like, just remember that's a tiny part of their life and we all know what's important and it's not that.
I'm really sick of sharing highlights on social media. Like, I definitely notice myself falling into it, and the only time I fall into it is when I'm not feeling good.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling insecure, when I'm feeling like lonely or unworthy or anything, that is when I want to put more on social. It's so weird.
Also, with that stuff, like, okay, great, somebody got, I don't know, a really expensive bag for Christmas, but what you're not seeing is the debt behind the scenes of that, you know?
Yeah.
The person driving the really fancy car. You know what's really cool? Not being in debt.
Yeah. Celebrating at home. Christmas can be a really expensive time travel-wise for a lot of people. If you're traveling across country or like across the world, try and celebrate at home or celebrate at a different time of year. Be like, look, I'm not going to come back for Christmas because it is so expensive. Can we do a really great family celebration in January when flights and, travel is a lot cheaper?
I think everything that I'm learning from both of you and from the curve in general is just like how important planning is. And I think actually even just putting aside, a small amount of your pay every month to be able to afford your flight home. I think the same can be said for things like travel. If you know you want to spend Christmas with your family, and I don't think you should beat yourself up this Christmas if you haven't done it, because of course a lot of us won't have. But if you can start thinking, okay, I would really like to fly home to be with my family, wherever you are in the world, or even if it's just like getting a train, like Dani's getting a train to see her family, and it's like over £100 to get there. If you think in advance, you can put money aside, you can plan it. It's when you don't, make those steps. That's where it makes it so much more stressful.
Planning and boundaries. Setting boundaries of how much you're going to spend and the expectation that's required of you financially from family members and friends, like having those kind of sticky conversations with people early so that there isn't this strange looming anxiety over you.
With everything when it comes to money, the more you can plan, the better. If it's retirement, your 20-year holiday, if it's a holiday, if it's a gift, if it's a dinner, if it's anything, like the more planned you can be, the better.
What I would like to talk about, which is not now, is the cost of having ADHD, because the idea of booking things and planning things, everything gets left to the last minute, and it's not from lack of trying. I think that there is a ginormous ADHD tax, because this has happened to me with this weekend, with the trains. Like, I'm absolutely bleeding money, and it's because that is something I really struggle with. So I think the more that we can do in terms of coming up with tips or actually saying, go and do this, it's so helpful. Even just setting that alarm for October, genuinely in that moment, will save me hundreds of pounds next year.
Well, then for anyone else, if you were traveling this year and you recognize that actually things went up in the last 3 months of the year, set yourself an alarm right now for the 2nd or 3rd of January to start looking at flights or travel plans for the following year. And also then going on to places like Skyscanner and setting up alerts for when prices go up and down.
Alerts are great. Love alerts.
I've just done that. Thank you. Very helpful.
And lastly, one more sneaky tip is that, we do get a lot of unwanted gifts at Christmas time. So if you are feeling a bit stretched on the old credit card in January, there are secondhand marketplaces where you can sell those gifts. If you want.
You seriously telling people to re-gift their Christmas gifts?
It's better than throwing it out or having it sit there collect
She's not
dust.
saying re-gift, she's saying make profit.
Yeah, I'm saying sell and make money.
Imagine.
There's only so many times you can be like, oh, thank you so much.
It's better to do that than have it not used that someone else could really enjoy.
Exactly.
Or it go into landfill because you throw it away.
It's so weird. I would just give it to someone. I don't have...
So you re-gift?
Yeah, but I wouldn't
She's
try
saying
and
she won't
make
make money
money
from
of it.
that.
I just can't be bothered. What am I going to list it on
Vic's don't understand.
Absolutely not. Vinted, Facebook Marketplace,
God,
trade me if you're
honestly,
in New Zealand.
Just the admin. I'm so not worth it for me, but there might be some people that would.
Boxing Day is the biggest day for
Regifting.
listings on Trade Me.
Really?
Yeah. One man's trash is someone's treasure.
Yeah.
I think it's My niece sent me her wish list.
What was it?
There was a dog on it, and I zoomed in on the photo, and I was like to my sister, well, I know what I'll be getting her for Christmas. She's like, don't you dare.
Cute. She probably just wants a miso.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
She calls Miso her cousin. When everyone asks if she got a dog, she's like, yes, Miso. She's my cousin.
Oh, that's so cute.
I love that.
Sorry, sidetracked.
So I think one thing we've talked about, practical, helpful things to try and stay on track financially. One thing I think we need to talk about is the idea of overspending, because the reality is those things are all good. We're in December. A lot of people don't have the time to plan. A lot of people will already be stressed out and be thinking, well, cool, those are all really helpful for next year. But this year, I have already blown my budget or whatever. So I wanted to talk about debt and credit cards and how we can, I don't know, I guess just be like somewhat more clever to reduce the stress going into next year, because it sucks starting the year being like, cool, I'm already behind. But before we get into it, let's just do a quick definition. What we're talking about here, like debt is it really annoys me because it's so nuanced. Like debt actually can be really good, but as soon as you hear the word, it sounds terrifying. There's obviously good and bad debt. The debt that we're talking about in this episode is like bad debt. It's not adding to your financial situation at all. Do you want to maybe just speak to that?
It's a bit complex when it comes to Christmas because, in my opinion, I don't think there's any form of good debt for Christmas gifting. These are not essentials. So therefore, if you are using money that you do not have to buy something that somebody does not need, it is a non-essential and a nice to have. The only way that I think that debt can be used in a quote unquote positive way for Christmas would be if you were able to put the gifts on a credit card that gained points that would give you either cash back or flights. That would only work if you know wholeheartedly you're going to pay that off that month. If you are a person that will put something on a credit card and you know you won't pay it off immediately, do not do it. It is not worth it. It does not come out in the wash, and you will spend more money than you ever saved on points because of the interest that it generates. Secondly, let's talk about buy now, pay later. Because, for clarity, I do not use buy now, pay later. I don't like it. I don't agree with it.
Either.
I think it promotes really bad money habits and lack of control, lack of boundaries, and lack of planning in people. I understand that there are needs sometimes, like if your washing machine breaks down and you can buy one on buy now, pay later. Okay, well, that's a conversation, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Christmas gifting. If you weren't able to use buy now, pay later, would you still buy that gift? And if the answer is no, I don't think that gift should be in the realm of your budget, because even though it's 0% interest, late payments really creep up. And so, for example, in the UK, Klarna, if you miss a payment on your 0% interest purchase, it's 25% of the purchase price or £5 late fee, whatever is lesser. So if you spent £20 buying someone a gift for Christmas and you missed the payment 2 weeks later, that gift has now cost you £25.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So my remedies for that, to avoid debt and to avoid needing to use those, would be to look at your income and try and take a portion of that and put it aside for gifting and figure out what's reasonable for you. So a good rule of thumb is 1% of your annual income. Absolutely no more of that should be spent on gifting.
That sounds like, I mean, that's quite a lot, isn't it?
1%.
Annual gifting, though. You've got birthdays, you've got Christmas.
Annual gifting.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, shit. So that means that has to cover everything.
Yeah.
I also feel like there might be people listening, though, that are like, well, I have left it to the last minute.
Yes.
And I can't afford to buy gifts, so I need to use buy now, pay later. I think that this is a really great time to have a conversation with the people that you are wanting to buy gifts for and saying, look, right now I've had to prioritize spending money on other things and I don't have money to spend on a lavish gift for you right now. Here's a beautifully written card of, how you make me feel and all of that, or can I give it to you later in January or February? I think a really good point that you make is like, pretend buy now later is not there. Yeah. Pretend the option isn't available. What else would you do?
What I do with my friends in Australia is that we have Christmas about 2 weeks after. And that's because we can all benefit from the sales after Christmas Day. If I want to get them a candle, for example, and that candle then goes on sale and I can save $20, $30 because candles are outrageously expensive these days. We have our friends' Christmas 2 weeks after that so that we can all sort of benefit from that and save money. When we're talking about spending a certain amount on people though, zoom out from 5 years ago, we were all still able to buy our friends gifts, but perhaps they were less expensive because our salaries were lower. And this is where I think lifestyle creep comes in. It's like, it's not necessary to buy somebody $100 gift. That's completely unnecessary.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I just did the whole 1% and looked up what it is. And at first I thought that's a lot. And then I saw it and I thought I definitely spend more than that on gifts, 100%. And it's because I don't plan it. It comes back to planning. I don't think of my total gifting budget for the year. And I really like the idea of that. I like the idea of almost taking 1% of what I earn every month and having that automatically going into a separate like little pod or account that's my gift account.
Well, that would be in your non-essentials. That would be your nice to haves from your monthly budgeting. And that's a great way of doing it because then when October hits, you've already got that allocated.
Yeah, because I think I like doing that more than just having it as a part of my spending.
Just moving into more actionables for people. Things like cost comparison websites, massive help this time of year. So Price Spy in New Zealand and the UK, really good to let you know all of the retailers throughout the country that have got things at a certain price at any given time. It also tracks the last sort of 90 days of the cost of that item.
What? How have I never heard of this?
So you can see the time it was the cheapest. And two things you can do here. You can then go, great, actually it's probably going to go down again. Maybe I'm going to buy that the day after Christmas so that I can save on that and gift that a week later than planned and save probably hundreds. Or you can bear in mind what date it was that it got the lowest
and do it next year.
Yeah.
And put a little reminder in. Lots of reminders happening in this episode. But to check that this time next year and go, or that time next year and say, okay, well, it was the lowest on October 20th. I'm going to try and look at that area next year.
It's so genius.
I did that for my house renovation with fridges and ovens, and I did the price comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I don't need as one that's that powerful or that good, and I can reduce the price, and you can like alter your search. It's actually very, very handy.
Yeah.
Okay, so there will be people who are either already in buy now, pay later debt or have already used their credit card to pay for things ahead of Christmas or may have to and feel like they don't have a choice. Are there any tips that you could share?
I would say planning January. So figure out when you're going to get paid in January and make a budget for January. And that budget needs to include repayments because ideally we're paying off the majority of what Christmas gifting has cost us by the time January 31st hits. And if you've got an idea of how much January is going to cost you, the events you've got planned, particularly in New Zealand summer, if you've got barbecues that you know you want to buy like a nice bottle of wine for or something like that, put all of that in. It might feel quite granular, but it will feel really good to have a plan, to be prepared and understand how much of your income in January needs to go back to paying off debts.
It's quite interesting. I think I've been feeling very empowered by being quite granular with my money and where it's going. And it's something about feeling like you're taking the control back because you've got a plan and because you are aware of where your dollars or pounds are going. I think debt makes people feel really out of control and really scared and really just almost as though their money is not something that they get to have a say on anymore because now it's sort of this sort of snowball effect that it's just getting worse and it's scary. Even sitting down and putting a budget together feels so empowering. And even if you're like, I can't be bothered doing this, our course would be a really good thing. Like you can pay it off in installments and it's so affordable. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I am going to be in debt and I don't know how to put a budget together or manage my money, and I'd love to be able to do that in January, ask someone to get the course for you for Christmas. Like for me, it's been so game changer going through like what is essential, what's non-essential, how can you plan better.
And I think if you have used a credit card, I think the key thing is if there's a minimum amount that you can pay, it's the monthly repayments because that will stop you getting into further debt. If you skip those, then it just adds on and you get more debt and more debt. So it's like if that's all you can pay, and you can't pay off any of the actual debt itself, just pay those minimum monthly payments.
And I think depending on the situation, it's not something that I think you should use as a planned ahead tool. But if you've gotten yourself into a scenario where you find yourself in credit card debt, you've already purchased these gifts and you need a plan for January, credit card companies will take on previous credit card debt. So say I'm with NatWest credit card and I want to transfer to an American Express credit card. There will be a balance transfer, which means that the new credit card company will take on the old debt from the old credit card company in order to gain you as a new customer. They'll let you bring all of that money over to the new credit card with 0% interest for 6, maybe 9, 12 months, depending on where you go. That gives you a lot of time to actually break down the money you owe and start to make serious dents in the repayments without having to consider interest, which obviously just keeps you kind of on the hamster wheel of debt. I think it's a tool that you should use only when you find yourself in that position. And as I said, don't go into getting a credit card with the idea of continually balance transferring your debt, because that's not responsible and it's not planning ahead.
Not sustainable.
But such a good tool for people who find themselves in that moment.
Is it essentially like shopping around and being like, I'll move to Vodafone from 2 Degrees if you can give me $1 off my bill?
Yes.
Is it that kind of thing?
It means that if I had $5,000 in credit card debt and I had an interest rate of 29% APR, which is annual percentage rate, I would need to pay off 29% of £5,000 annually in order, which is $1,450. So roughly 120, which won't be accurate because there'll be ebbs and flows of what you're putting on that card. But $120 a month would be the minimum for me to even just keep sitting at 5,000. I'm not even getting anywhere. It's just going to stay there. So if you balance transfer at 0%, it's your credit card company saying, I'm going to give you some breathing room. We're not going to charge you interest for 6 months. Then if you were paying off 200 each month, for example, you'd actually get to the point where you may have paid off 1,000 or 1,200, and then you've only got 3,800 left on your credit card. You can just go on credit card websites and they will show whether they've got balance transfer options for 0%. Some of them have balance transfer at 0% for 24 months. That's 2 years of not having to pay interest.
Why would they, what do they get out of that?
They get you as a
new
customer.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think that's a good point. It's like, if you are struggling, call your bank and be like, what options do you have for me? If they can't help you, go to another bank and be like, hey, this is my situation. I want to become a customer of yours.
Yeah.
What's the best deal you can do?
Yeah.
Because I
What
think you'd be
would the bank
surprised.
be doing for what part of your money situation?
Your debt, for your credit card debt. So they might be like, oh, actually, we've got this other credit card and you can transfer your balance, which is a lower rate. Or a new bank might be like, yeah, balance transfer your existing debt and you'll be 0%. Like there's so many different ways they can cut the mustard in terms of helping you out. Or they might be like, look, we'll pause your repayments for 6 months.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you'd be surprised. Banks want to keep you as a customer.
Yeah.
And very hard to get a new customer. So yeah, with mortgages, with credit cards, with any kind of debt.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, just.
What about if it was like buy now, pay later? Can you go to a new one? Be like, see ya, I'm going to go to Klarna or something.
No. Because
I feel like they're the devil.
the reason you can't do that is because they've paid the merchant. So say you buy something from Net-a-Porter and you did it via Klarna or buy now, pay later. They've paid the place you actually
On
bought
your
it from.
behalf.
Yeah. So you have to pay them back the money. They're literally carrying that debt for you.
Yeah, so they're literally like a kind of a holding pen, but like between the merchant and you. And so they're taking on the risk of like, you will pay them. And that's why if you don't pay them, they're like, we're going to penalise you because we've already paid out the merchant.
Oh, goodness. I feel quite like shit.
Okay. Well,
I just think if I'm feeling like this, there'll be so many people that are just, it is a stressful time of year.
I think in summary, if you haven't planned and set a budget or set a certain amount of your salary aside and you've got to this point and you've had to use debt and put gifts on your credit card, then there are options that can help you alleviate that burden of heading into January going, oh, shit.
and if you aren't quite there yet and you have still got gifts to buy and you're looking at your bank balance and you're thinking, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, make a plan for the people you really, really need to buy a gift for. And when you say need, you're like, I really want to show love to this person in that way. And gifting is my love language and I really want to be part of that moment with them. Write down the list of people and then create a budget per person. Then you have a total amount at the end. Say you've got 4 people and you want to spend 25 on each. You've got 100 that you've set aside for gifting. Keep yourself accountable to that. And if you get, excited and you spend £30 on one of them or $30 on one of them,
you have to adjust the other.
You have to adjust so that the bottom line of your gifting stays the same. Like the creep with 5, 10 here and there really does add up. And I think that's where people start to see that leaky budget happen. They say, I don't know how I had a budget. I don't know how I overspent. 5, 10, 15 all really adds up. So keep yourself accountable. And then think about the people that you would like to gift to. They may be on your nice to have gifting list, but maybe they're not immediate family and you're not going to see them on Christmas Day. They get a card. Oh my goodness, bake them something amazing.
Don't make them kimchi. I tried that. It was a really bad idea.
Maybe some pickled onions.
Not just me, just stay away from pickling.
Nothing. I really,
cute.
somebody making me a tin of Christmas biscuits and a little note, that will mean so much more to me than somebody buying me a pair of socks that don't fit that I'm never going to wear.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a bit of Christmas baking.
Yeah, we're all getting baking for Christmas.
It's just like kimchi flavored cookies.
It's just like really like uncooked dough. Yeah. I mean, baking's never, following instructions in general has never really been a strength of mine.
Those baking kits where all you add is eggs and water. They're the best.
I don't think they're the best.
No, they're not.
Well,
they're
best if you don't know how to bake.
I tried the kimchi things that I tried to make. I got these giant jars. Like I really had the best of intentions, like really big, beautiful jars. And I got like 15 cabbages and like all these daikon radishes and like I'm pretty sure I put prawns in them. Like it was so random and they were coated. Anyway, it took me days. I spent probably 3 days, like hands in buckets, like doing all this like kimchi stuff. And then,
hands in buckets?
Yeah, I literally, because I was doing it en masse, but I never got any positive compliments from them, and I think maybe most people didn't eat it.
I love you, but if I get you for Secret Santa, Vic, can I please swap with you? Because I do not
You'll be getting
want
kimchi.
any fermented cabbage
Don't
for Christmas.
worry. I've learnt my lesson. I won't be doing that again.
Well, you'd know who your Secret Santa was straight away, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think so.
Overall, I think giving each other a bit of compassion is the first step, because if we're having this conversation, it basically means that everyone in our social network or friendship circles is also looking at their bank balance and going, holy cow, this is an expensive time of year. Yeah. Have the chat with your friends and say, things are a little bit tight right now. Would you mind if we did a potluck Christmas dinner instead? Everyone brings something baked or something delicious. Spend some time with people you love instead of automatically defaulting to gifting. And I think we'd be surprised by how much more positive we feel having been in the company of people we love.
They might be being like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying
Yes.
that. You know, I think just
say
if
it.
a friend came to me and said that, I'd be like, oh yes,
Me
oh my
too.
gosh, thank you so much for suggesting it.
Speaking of,
Kimchi
no
potluck?
gifts from everyone, or we're doing a Secret Santa in the office.
Yes.
Oh no, have you already bought a present? Fuck, she has. Have you really?
No?
Oh,
I'll have
damn.
You'll have it?
Could you give me a budget?
Kimchi. It's store-bought kimchi, so you don't have to, so it saves
Hey,
you
that's
lots
another
of time.
one. That's another one. Hey, I got more tips. If you're doing Secret Santa with your friends, which I think is a really cool friendship circle thing to do as well, to stop unnecessary gifting, set yourselves a budget and everyone stick to it. Don't be the person that spends 100 when the budget was 30. No one's impressed.
So annoying.
Just spend 30 and then try and get something I think that is not boring practical, but something like if I'm dating someone or I've got a friend who really, really loves this fancy pair of socks, like it's a bit of a splash thing and they're not going to spend it on themselves. That's a cool gift to get them for Christmas because it's practical. They're going to wear it, but it's also quite flashy and it's something that they probably won't spend on themselves. So I always try and give things that are not novelty and that are going to be really appreciated and used by people, because we don't want things to end up in landfill just because we're getting them something that's funny that we saw in a joke store. But we also want to do something and give them something that they're really going to treasure, and that's usually something they can use.
Okay, well, if we could maybe have some like budgets.
£20.
£20? Is that realistic? For our gifting between the three of us?
Yeah.
What budget have you both been working with? Like, because Vic looks like she's already bought gifts by the look on her face.
£20 is a reasonable
I know,
amount.
but I don't want Vic to have gone and spent 60 and then I get her something that's 20.
No, but this is the whole conversation we're having. I think it's fine. £20 is great.
Okay, cool.
Curve Christmas gifting cannot go past £20, cannot contain kimchi, and must have gift receipts.
Okay, great. Love it.
And cannot be bought on a credit card.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
buy now, pay laters.
No, buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to Raising the Curve. These conversations are designed to teach you everything you need to know to be better with your money, from saving to investing to talking with your friends about your salaries, all of that stuff.
And if you like what you heard, we would love if you could please hit subscribe wherever you're listening and leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about the episode.
And it only takes 1 second and it would really make our week, our month, our year.
Yeah.
So please do it. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, quickly. The Curve was created to empower and educate you about investing, but we are not financial advisors.
Our platform exists for educational purposes only, and it doesn't provide personalized investing advice for your individual needs and should not be relied upon to make an investment or financial decision.
And always remember to do your own research before making any investment or financial decision.
We're here for any knowledge and support you need, but the final call is always yours.
And thanks for being here.
You got this.
Yeah, we know you got this.